Hi and welcome to this screencast, which will be your first screencast in our Ancient World class this year. If you don't know what a screencast is, I'll take a minute or two to explain it to you. Basically, what a screencast is a recording of my screen, so you can see everything that I'm doing on my screen, on my computer, and you can of course also hear me talking. So what I will do during this screencast and throughout this year is that I will go over certain terms, certain concepts, and what I want you to do is take notes just as if you were sitting in class, and you will just follow along with the concepts that I'm describing, and you'll try your best to understand what's going on. Hopefully that will not be too difficult. And at the end of each screencast, after you've finished it, I will pose a couple of different questions, and those questions will be in a Google form that will be posted right below the screencast on the class blog. So you just go ahead and answer those questions after you completed the screencast, and that's basically it. Another thing that's important to know is also that as I go along, if you have any questions, if there's something that you don't understand, please write those questions down, and I will always set aside a few minutes in class on the day that the screencast is due to answer any questions that anyone might have had. So again, just follow along, take down the notes, and take down any other notes besides the notes that are going to be on this whiteboard that I have here, this online whiteboard. If there's something that I say that you think might be really important, write that down as well. And then at the end of it, you have a couple of questions to answer, and that goes in to the Google form that will be posted below this screencast on the class blog. So here we go. This is Chapter 1, Section 1, if you'd like to kind of organize your notes by chapters and section. And we talked in class on Friday about the origins of humans and the beginning of the Paleolithic age. And my apologies for second period here. You guys did not get this because of the church service. So things are a little bit out of order for you guys here, but hopefully you can follow along anyway. So what we will be spending time on here during this screencast is the cultural life of the Paleolithic age. So this will be the So that's kind of the overall heading here, the cultural life during the Paleolithic age. We looked in class at some of the broader aspects of the Paleolithic age, who the humans were that lived in it, etc., etc. Today we're going to look at some of the more nuanced aspects of the Paleolithic age, and we're going to take a look at the cultural life here. So the first thing that you need to know about the Paleolithic age and the cultural life and the cultural aspects of it is that the basic social unit was a large family group. And if you don't know what a basic social unit is, that's okay. In our society today, the basic social unit would be the family. That is the basic social unit, the family. But in the Paleolithic age, the basic social unit was a very large family group. Today, each family might have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members in each group, in each family. But during the Paleolithic age, these groups were much, much larger. As you can see, they were large family groups. So they had a large family group. Most of these people were related somehow. They didn't keep track, they being the Paleolithic people, didn't necessarily keep track of family relationships, but most of them were related one way or another. So you usually had about 30 to 50 people. in this unit. So you had a large family group, you had about 30 to 50 people in this unit, most of whom were related. Some might have not have been, but most people were related. So the question is then, why? Why not just have a family of 2, 3 people, or 4 people, or 5 people, or 6? Why have 30 to 50 people? Well, the answer to that is basically that life during the Paleolithic age was very harsh. So life was very harsh. It was difficult to find food. They had to hunt, they had to gather, they had to hunt bison, they had to hunt rabbits, they had to hunt all kinds of different animals, and they had to gather berries, they had to gather all kinds of different things. So because of the fact that life was very harsh, you needed a lot of people in order to survive. So they needed many people to survive. If you just had 3 or 4 people or 5 people, you probably would not have survived during the Paleolithic age. Instead, you needed a big group that could help one another, and all these people in this group could divide up different tasks and do different things, and it would be an easier way for these people to survive. So the basic social unit was much, much larger during the Paleolithic age than it was during our time today. So where did they live? Well, most of these people, as you might know, lived in caves. But that's kind of the stereotypical view, the caveman, as I'm sure you've heard and seen discussed in many different aspects in many different venues. But they didn't only live in caves. They also lived in kind of very basic houses. And I have a picture here for you of a very basic house. Basically, again, this does obviously not look like any of our houses today, but these are made out of bones. They are made out of animal bones, and they were put together this kind of structure to protect them from wind and sun and cold and heat and all that kind of good stuff. So it would provide some kind of protection for them. Most people lived in these kinds of houses because caves were obviously difficult to come by. So that's kind of the main reason why they lived in these houses. So they lived in these caves or in outside shelters. And one of the things that's interesting about the Paleolithic age is that they spent a lot of time focusing on art. So they spent a lot of time focusing on art, and as I am sure that you know, they painted a lot of things and in these caves that they lived. So we have these cave paintings. Cave paintings. And I have another picture for you here. This is from Lascaux in France, which is one of the most famous Paleolithic cave paintings. And as you can see here, the picture is relatively small, but hopefully you can see that we got a lot of different animals. We got something that looks almost like horses, probably some bisons, and other types of animals. So historians and archaeologists and anthropologists have debated for a long time, what was the purpose of this art? Like, why did they draw these things? Why did they spend time drawing these things? And most historians, not all, but most historians agree that these cave paintings had a religious purpose. Most of the time, these cave paintings illustrate some aspect of hunting. And most historians believe that the Paleolithic people drew these things on the wall in the belief that if they drew a picture of a successful hunt, they would then go out later that week, later that month, later that year, and have a very successful hunt, and it would be easy for them to create a large supply of food. So most historians believe that these cave paintings had a religious purpose. The other thing that we have found quite a bit of during the Paleolithic age is statues. So we found all kinds of stone statues, and most of these statues depict women, and actually pregnant women. And again, so most of these statues depict pregnant women, and again, this has some kind of religious purpose, because the historians believe that the Paleolithic people created statues of pregnant women, asking for the birth of many healthy children so that their tribe or their society or their civilization could grow and prosper and get stronger and stronger. So that goes back to this idea that you need a lot of people to survive. So because of that, they created these statues, believing that that would help them create a large and strong society. The last thing that we'll talk a bit about for a minute here is their overall religious beliefs. And it is clear that they had many different kinds of beliefs. This is obviously before Christian times, so they did not believe in Christianity, but they had many different kinds of beliefs. So they had many different kinds of beliefs, and we don't really know exactly what these beliefs meant or what exactly they had to do with, but one of the things that we've noticed and that historians have noticed is that pretty much all of them had to do with nature. So they believed in nature gods, and the explanation for that is probably because of the fact that these people were so influenced by nature. They were not very well protected for wind, for the sun, for heat, for cold. They were very much dependent on nature to kind of cooperate with them in order for them to have a good life. So that is kind of the main reason that historians believe that they had these religious beliefs that were very closely tied in to nature. So that's basically it for this first screencast. Again, you'll have a couple of questions that I will post to you on this Google form right below this screencast. I hope you understood everything that was going on. And if you have any questions, please write those down, and I'll be more than happy to answer those on Monday in class.